Vasudevaya.
Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
O my Lord, the all-pervading wisdom of the heart, I offer my despicable offenses unto you. Naranam namaskritya naram chaiva narottamam. Of conquest, one should offer respectful obeisances unto the personality of Lord Narayana, unto Mother Saraswati, the goddess of learning, and unto Srila Vyasadeva, the author. Ashtaparayeshu abhadareshu nityang bhagavata sevaya bhagavati uttama shloke bhaktir bhavati naistiki. Bhagavatam, my writing of service to the pure devotee. All that is troublesome to the heart is almost completely destroyed in loving service unto the personality of Godhead, who is praised with transcendental songs, is established as an irrevocable fact. Om Ajnana Tamarandasya Gyananjana Shalakaya Chakshurun Militam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namah. Born in the darkest ignorance, my spiritual master opened my eyes with the torch of knowledge. I offer my respectful obeisances unto you. Jai Srila Prabhupada ki.
Jai Prabhupada.
Okay. So we'll dedicate this to Manil on his birthday. Okay. And welcome everybody. All right. So we're just waiting patiently. Fairly patiently. Okay, Lord Narasimhadev slays the king of the demons. Thank you so much. Hare Krishna. So what's up here? Are we doing a summary or?
Yes, Maharaj. Or you can select a verse if you.
Okay. Let's see, where are we here? What chapter is it?
It's chapter 8.
8. 8 is great. 8 gopis, you know, all that good stuff. All right. We have some devotees that are here for the first time. Who's here for the first time? Okay, do you want to tell us your wonderful names? We'll start with you.
Trisha.
Trisha.
Arush.
Arush.
Danush. Danush.
Danush. Try. How about you? It's your first time?
My name is Malika.
Okay, all right. Hare Krishna. Okay, Lord Narasimhadev slays the king of the demons. Okay, we're not going to look at this. Off. Because you gave me the summary, right? So that's what we're doing. And then we'll choose a shloka, unless if in the meantime you want to find something. Okay? As described in this chapter, Hiranyakashipu was ready to his own son, Prahlad Maharaj. But the Supreme Personality of Godhead appeared in front of the demon as Sri Nrikishari, half man, and killed him. Following the instructions of Maharaj, all the sons of the demons became attached to Lord Prabhu's. Get your avatars right. The Supreme Personality of Godhead. When this attachment became pronounced, their teachers, Shanda and Amarka, were very much scared. Give me another word, synonym. Give me an A. Afraid that the boys would become more and more devoted to the Lord. In a helpless condition, they approached Hiranyakashipu and described him in detail the effect of Prahlad's preaching. After hearing of this, Hiranyakashipu decided to kill his son Prahlad. Hiranyakashipu was so angry that Prahlad Maharaj fell down at his feet and said many things just to pacify him. He was unsuccessful in satisfying his demoniac father. Hiranyakashipu, as a typical demon, began to advertise himself as being greater than the Supreme Personality of Godhead. But Prahlad Maharaj challenged him, saying that Hiranyakashipu was not God, and began to glorify the Supreme Personality of Godhead, declaring that the Lord is all pervading, that everything is under him, and that no one is or greater than him. Thus he requested his father to be submissive to the omnipotent Supreme Lord. We're doing good so far. The more Prahlad Maharaj glorified the Supreme Personality of Godhead, the more angry and agitated the demon became. Hiranyakashipu asked his Vaishnava son whether his God existed within the columns of the palace, and Prahlad Maharaj immediately accepted that since the Lord is present everywhere, he was also present within the There's only one here. Really. Everything. Oh, yeah, okay. When Hiranyakashipu heard this philosophy from his young son, he derided the boy's statement as just to talk of a child and forcefully
Smash. Beat. Hit. Bang.
struck the pillar with his fist. As soon as Hiranyakashipu struck the column, there issued forth a tumultuous sound. At first, Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, could not see anything but to substantiate Prahlad's statements, the Lord came out of the pillar in his wonderful incarnation as Narasimhadev, half lion and half man. Hiranyakashipu could immediately understand that the extraordinarily wonderful form of the Lord was surely meant for his killing, his death, and thus he prepared to fight with the form of half lion and half man. The Lord performed his pastime by fighting with the demon for some time, and in the what time is it? In the evening. He's portraying it very well. Yeah. Evening. On the border between day and night, the Lord captured the demon, threw him on his lap, and killed him by piercing his abdomen with his nails. The Lord not only killed Hiranyakashipu, the king of the demons, but also killed many of his followers. When there was no one else to fight, the Lord, roaring with anger, sat on Hiranyakashipu's throne. Very good. One more paragraph. The entire universe transcends bliss. Then all the demigods, headed by Lord Brahma, approached the Lord. These included the great saintly persons, the Pitas, the Siddhas, the Vidyadharas, the Nagas, the Manus, the Prajapatis, the Gandharvas, the Charanas, the Yakshas, the King Purushas, Vitalikas, the Kinkaras, and people from North York. I'm just joking. And also many other varieties of beings in human form. All of them stood not far from the Supreme Personality of God, and began offering their prayers unto the Lord, whose spiritual effulgence was
Bright.
give me a B, 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 R, 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 I, L, 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 L. Brilliant. Brilliant. As he sat on his throne. Hare Krishna. Is that good enough, Bruce?
Yeah.
I think we'll just not have a verse. Is that okay? Yeah, we'll be okay. Great. And by the way, here, this is for you. Okay. No, let's just see if we can be.
3, 4, 3, 4.
Pretty close. All right. So let's look at this scenario. Let's look at this situation here. We're talking about an avatar. We're talking about a humble little boy. And we're talking about his mean dad. So this is a triangle here. And of course, there are other people that came into the picture. The problem with Hiranyakashipu is he was thinking he was G-O-D when he was more like a D-O-G. Okay? But it's part of Leela. It's part of the pastimes of the Lord. And does anybody know John Lennon? Imagine all the people. Okay, so he once said, we are bigger than Jesus. We are bigger than Jesus. So yes, the Fab Four were popular in the late 60s, right up until about 1970, still are. And for that, somebody didn't like it. Somebody was a little bit like the wiring was not doing, so it was a little mixed up here, and he took a gun and shot John Lennon, so he died. And imagine, Hare Krishna. So you might get some reaction for making that claim, or the thinking you're way up there. Like, what to speak it like a demigod, you know? If you think that you're in the rank and that you're right up there, the likes of Shiva and Ganesh and Brahma, Indra, well, you might get some bad karma. Something might pop out of a pillar and do something to you. Now, what about that? The pillar. Anything? The Lord can appear anywhere. He is known as being omnipotent, and he's all-pervading, ever-present, everywhere. And so there's no place where he is not. And one time, it was Achyutananda, who was one of the early American devotees that was with Prabhupada in India in the early days. He was a very bright, witty young man at the time. He was a Jewish boy, and he was very sharp, you know. And he was a brahmachari when he went to India. And one time he's saying, Prabhupada made a remark, a person asked him in the presence of Achyutananda, is when there's a breeze, is that Krishna's breath? And Prabhupada's answer was, yes, that is Krishna consciousness. Being able to perceive the presence of God anywhere and in anything. Of course, the notion of feeling the wind hitting your face, moving your hair if you have any, then most of us don't. We're Hare Krishnas, but paradoxically, we don't have much hair. But that is a clear indication that this is God's breath. And when the sun is shining, when it's brilliant, the word that you peruse were struggling with like anything, then that is also the sunshine of God. That's the eye of God. You know, Prabhupada speaks about this in the Nectar of Devotion, the eye of God. Now sometimes, you know, so the sun is one eye and the moon is another. Sometimes they're open together. Did you notice that?
Yeah.
The sun is out there and the moon is out there too. It's good to be very observant. Thank you. And but oftentimes the Lord is blinking. You know, the sun is up, that means it's bright, and the moon may not be so present. Even if the moon is present in the sky, he's quite obscured. He's upstaged by the sun. So this is one way to see God also, I learned from my walks across Canada. I had to learn this. It just came kind of natural. You have to see Krishna in everything. There's verses in the chapters of the Gita where Krishna is known to be, makes himself present, all pervasive in the atmosphere, such as Rasaham Apsakonteya, when you take water, that taste is Krishna. And then devotees try to understand, like, we're supposed to be a little bit like Gyanis. Gyanis try to be analytical. We try to figure things out. And by the way, on cue here. I'm the taste of water. And it is very basic. It is very sweet. If you take water from the ocean, I was just at the ocean the other day, and you wouldn't dare, You wouldn't dare. It's just... I also had the good fortune to walk Israel, and I went to the Dead Sea with some devotees. And at the Dead Sea, one thing that people do, there's a lot of people there, quite a few Russian people go there. Of course, a lot of Russians are settling down there with a Jewish background, and because Israel is mostly Jewish folks. So they go and make a point of it to go to the Dead Sea. And there's all this fantastic mud, kind of sticky mud, like butter when it's soft, Have you ever had butter and squeeze it like this? And your mother gets on your case. What are you doing? Okay, so, there's a place where you walk and it comes between your toes, It just, and everyone takes this mud and they have like a mud bath, And you just cover your whole body with it. Yeah, here we are. And it's very good for your skin. There was one place in Utah where we went, a place called Delta in Utah, and they have this lake with that kind of mushy kind of mud. And it's beautiful. So every day after a long walk, after doing a few miles, me and my two support devotee brahmacharis, we would sort of cover ourselves in this stuff and just let it cake on for a bit. And then after a while, you go for your swim. Now in the Dead Sea, look at this, What do you think that is? That's like salt. It's salty water. And it has a buoyancy dynamic. You just kind of like float on it. I think there were some pictures of people just floating. You can't sink. It has all these minerals that keep you afloat. And you don't dare submerge yourself because it'll burn your eyes and your mouth. Now, we actually have a lake called Little Manitou Lake near Watrous, Saskatchewan. It's south of Candle Lake, which he knows. Anybody from Saskatchewan? Well, he was there for a few months. If you can show us Watrous. I think it's a really nice place of pilgrimage. They have that buoyancy dynamic. You can't sink in that lake. When you go there, you just kind of float. It's really, one person who described it to me, you got to go there, Swami. You got to go there. All you have to do is just lie down and you can just read the newspaper upside down in the water. Yeah, so this is Watrous. That's the town, very small. Yeah, and they have these wonderful, kind of like this really nice, what you coolies like they have in Alberta, where it's like a smooth, smooth hills rolling down. It's a very small town, really. And the person who actually occupies, this is a very typical Saskatchewan scene, a grain elevator. And it's so charming, First time I did a walk, I walked under every last one of these that I came to in every town. Second time I walked, they were all gone. They were like a fire hazard. Okay, so this is the resort here in Watrous, and it's owned and run by one of our devotees from Brampton. And he spends some time there. And it's really funny. He told me some funny stories. The Mennonites come in and they, with their family, and they want to just rent one room for all 12 of them. I said, it's against the law. See, you just float. You just float. You can't sink. And you don't even have to have your Crocs on. You know, so, and then they have these pool situations inside for the mineral water, and you just float. So this Prabhu was telling me some of the Mennonites, when they lie down and they fall asleep. They just fall asleep, you know. And then when they hit the wall slightly, like someone may come and just push them over. Say, why did you do that? Why did you do that? I was sleeping. So it's kind of really a mysterious place. There's a beauty to it, really it is. There is a little bit of that mossy stuff that you have to deal with, and for those who are a little playful, you just throw it at each other when you're in the lake. Yeah, so there you go. She's actually floating. She's actually floating. And our indigenous people, they used to go there for healing. It does heal you. It just really takes care of a lot of toxins. You know, you don't drink it, but you float there. It's all good for your skin. And when you come out, oftentimes there's a little white, you know, dried up minerals all over your body. Okay, let's get back to the story. So Hiranyakashipu had a problem. It was called ego. And as we expressed before, ego, it could be an acronym for edging God out. So he was very good at that program, at edging God out, pushing God away. I'm God. He had an issue with Vishnu, and it was very astounding to him that his own son was preaching the glories of his arch enemy. So, you know the classic picture of Hiranyakashipu with his son on his lap. I think it's the right thigh. How was school today, son? Does your dad do that with you? With your mom? Okay, well, they don't do that. Okay, all right. I'll have a talk with them. Okay, so it's natural. How was school today? Or how was work today, hon? Those kind of things. And so Prahlad disappointed his father. He said, well, I didn't really learn much. What do you didn't learn anything? I didn't really learn anything from Shanda and Amarka, the teachers of the time. So, and Prahlad just volunteered to go on. But I did learn something from somewhere else. So the whole secret of his life was that when he was in the belly of his mother, Narada Muni came for a visit. And Narada Muni told him all the, you know, the values of life. He told him the basic things. You're not that body, you're a spirit. And there's a greater spirit, and we're to worship that spirit, and that spirit is Vishnu. So, yeah, here it is. Yeah, that's classic, right? He looks pretty mean, doesn't he? Yeah. And Prahlad looks, oh, I'm innocent. And people are looking on the side what's going on in the palace. Usually, where there is a palace, there's a lot of intrigue. Where there's a big mansion and people live in it, there's a lot of weird stuff going on, you know. And like, say, the epitome of it happened when Vidura heard from his nephew, oh, you're the son of a maidservant, right in his face. And then Vidura thought that was the ultimate slap in your face. And like, people do get upset if you talk about your mother, you know. And now I'm going to take you back to Saskatchewan. On the second walk across Canada, I stayed with an Indian family. They were from, where's that place where they had that tyranny in Africa? Anybody with African blood background? Okay. What's his name? Idi Amin. Idi Amin. They came from that place. A lot of Gujaratis, Punjabis, they moved out. It was a brain drain. People just moved out after that. So it was very interesting. In that particular town called Swift Current. Now, I look at names, I take them very seriously. Swift Current. There was no current there. There wasn't even a creek. There was and no one was very swift. And, the reason why I'm bringing this up is swift current, I'm just trying to think about, yeah, there's, well, let's say there's gambling going on there. Why else did I bring it up? It'll come to me. Forgive me. I know this is being recorded and this is very important. I have to get my thoughts together. Okay, so anyways, it'll come to me. It will come. Okay. So anyways, the problem here is that Hiranyakashipu had a big ego and he didn't want to hear about Vishnu being glorified under his nose. And, Prahlad was sharing all of this information with his friends, his classmates. And that was not appropriate. It was not the right priority as far as Hiranyakashipu is concerned. Basically the syllabus was Dharma, Artha, and Kama, and do you know what subjective matter is missing when I present that list? Moksha, right. So that's liberation. So Dharma, yes. Hiranyakashipu, the likes of him, Ravana, they worshipped demigods. They were dharmic on one level. They actually were. They were submissive to someone. And the case of Hiranyakashipu, who was it that was describing Jagadatma Prabhu the other day that his head got so hot, he was undergoing austerities and the demigods felt the heat and they came down to complain. So, so the information was getting out there. Hiranyakashipu did exercise dharma, religious principles, but in order to achieve something that's a little bit mundane. There's nothing wrong with that. Like most of you are going to school and you're going to establish yourselves, You're going to school so you can get stabilized in your life, getting a good job, earn some income, but the problem is there's, if you just end at kama, the fruits of your labor, then you're missing the boat, So dharma means being religious. Artha means what? Economic development, getting yourselves established. And then kama means enjoying those fruits, the big house in the suburbs that you worked so hard to get, the mansion, the palace, where there's always intrigue, usually. And so that is the program, but there was something missing, moksha, how to get out of this world. How to get yourself free from samsara. Do you know what samsara is? Do you know what it is? It's a wheel. It's a cycle. Do you know what it is? Samsara. Do you want to guess?
I've heard of it, but
Samsara. Okay, it's like a wheel and it means birth, death, old age, and disease. Birth, death, old age, and disease. You can all say it. Birth, death, old age, and disease. Yeah, right here, Prabhu here is pointing out birth, death, old age, and disease. Yeah. And so what really needs to happen for us, if we're at least taking the lessons from Prahlad seriously, is to end samsara, to end the cycle of birth and death. Should we fear death? Should we? Well, can I get an answer from you, Bruce, on that? Should we fear death? No? Yeah, I think it's a yes and a no. Yeah. Do you want to explain it, Mahabhagavat?
We should definitely fear death if we are not remembering Krishna.
Yes.
If we always remember Krishna, then death has no problem.
Yeah, that's right. Because death is really basically like sleep, and then you wake up to the reality, the ultimate reality, which is Vaikuntha, being in a place where Krishna resides and getting a chance to serve him. That's really what it is. So a nice analogy is given. There's the mouth of the cat, okay? For the mouth of the cat. So what does the cat do with its mouth? Anybody know?
Eat mouse.
Yum, yum, eat 'em up, okay? And gets its prey, and so it can keep up its nutrition and so on like that. But the cat's mouth means death for the mouse, let's say, or the rat. But the mouth of the cat means something else for the kitten's protection, right? And have you ever seen a mama cat grab her kittens and grabs the skin here and takes them somewhere? Well, I was raised on a farm, and in the barn, we'd have cats. And the cats would, give birth. And then if we started to go and, me and my siblings, we go and sort of mess around with the little kittens too early, she would get a little annoyed and she'd find another place in the barn to put them. And then we got the message, okay, we're too possessive here and you need to take care of your young, like that. So for a devotee, this is what death means. It means there's nothing to worry about. And I got it confirmed by whoever coughed. But for a person who's living in the material world, then definitely it is something to be concerned about, I like one of the verses from the Gita where it offers hope, and it's in chapter 2. Nahabi kramanashasti pratyavayo nividyate swalpamapyasya dharmasya trayate mahato bhayat. Does anybody know what bhayat means? Fear, right. And fear is something we all experience here in this world. We eat, sleep, mate, and fear. Okay, that's one of the 4 principles of living here. And so fear is just something that can be overcome by a little exercise in devotional service, a little bit of bhakti. It doesn't have to mean a lot, but a big heart, but small doses or quantities, whatever you're offering. Another favorite pastime is Sudama. Sudama just had a little rice to offer to Krishna. It wasn't a lot. There was no ghee on it, to my knowledge. There wasn't even haldi on it, or jeera, or anything kind of nice and super Indian. It was pretty plain Jainish. And yet, when Krishna detected that he had it, said, even though it was a small morsel, Krishna just grabbed it, he ate it, he understood it's for me, it's a gift to me. And when he took it, he was just so gratified. And it's explained in the Shastras that the universe was gratified. Everyone was happy, That kind of concept of water the root of the tree, somebody got a cough out there? Okay. And the whole tree gets benefit. It starts to flower and bear fruit because it's being channeled at the right place. So you have to do the right thing at the right place and under the right circumstances. And bhakti is like that. Just another hint where we get that little portions mean a lot to Krishna. Patrang pushpam palam tuyam yo me bhakti prayachati tadaham bhakti uparitam ashnami prayatatmana. If you offer a little leaf, if you offer a little flower, a little fruit, or just a little portion of water, Krishna's happy with it. Now, some people take that the wrong way. And they come with a little bag. It's got like a nickel in it with rice this much, Krishna's happy. I'm being like Sudama, and I just came from my mansion in the suburbs, my monster home, So really, the largeness, or let's say what is to be considered big, grand, in terms of bhakti is what's coming from the heart. It's the thought that counts, okay? Now, I wish people would say that to each other more at Christmas time. This is Christmas time. You understand it's a crazy time? I know that some stores survive on Christmas. It's a fact. But people go all out and spend so much money on gifts for people. Another cough. Even for someone that they're not so close to, but there's some obligations at work to get, Some people even buy like a Lexus or something like that for their son, for Christmas or something like that. Birthday also. Yeah, but anyways, it puts some people into debt, So you're happy for a few days, Christmas Eve, and Christmas Day is very nice, and you have a little bit of booze and big turkey, just to stay a little bit intoxicated, and then it goes right on up. It prolong the sort of the binge, and right till New Year's or one day after New Year's, then it hits you. I got a big debt, $20,000, whatever. I didn't. And you have to spend the whole year to make up for the loss at Christmas time. So the reason why I bring this up, it would be maybe a little better to offer gifts to people that are not so expensive but have a lot of meaning. And there was a phrase, a mantra, if you will, where people used to say, well, it's the thought that counts, right? And that's the spirit of Christmas. Okay? The spirit of Christmas. Yes. We give gifts. It's one of our obligations. Give gifts to devotees, at particular times of the year. And receive gifts and give gifts. That's what we're supposed to be doing. So, that's what this time of the year is really kind of all about. It's supposed to be a giving time. And when Jesus was born, they gave gifts to him. They didn't give gifts to each other. They gave it to him. So if we go back to that particular principle, give to Krishna, that'd be nice. And of course, give Bhagavad Gitas to the conditioned souls because they need it. They need it like anything. Yeah. What a great gift it is. Yeah, so we're at that point now where we should, Raj is just protecting time, And we'll just kind of wrap it up here, that in our particular summary here, we're talking a bit about Hiranyakashipu. We acted irresponsibly, and he died for that, but he was to take birth again. There were more lessons to be learned. And that's okay, as long as the lessons are being learned. You can go through many, this rigmarole of being born again and again and again. But if you're not learning anything, then you're just kind of silly or you're just dull. For every day of our life, going through the cycle of morning, afternoon, evening, morning, afternoon, evening, we should be learning something new every day. Something that's impactful. It can be a small thing, but it should mount up to be a mountain. Isn't it? Every day we should be searching for that. What is that new thing that I can learn today that I will be able to retain, that I can put into practice? Good. So we have a bright hand up right now. Thank you very much. Yes, you're very right. You're very smart. He was, but he played the role of a not so nice person. He was not nice, he was naughty.
I think he took like 3/4 of people.
That's right. You should be up here. No, that's absolutely correct, yes. That there was let's say, a role that was to be played out here, and that Hiranyakashipu had to learn another lesson, so he had to take birth again. Does anybody know which birth he took? Yeah, that's right. That was the next installment. Ravan and Kumbhakarna for Hiranyakashipu. And then finally, what was the next installment? Oh, I recognize hands, Prabhu. Okay. Dantavakra. Right. And then there was apparently a fourth installment. Jagayamata, yeah, hands, okay. Mouths. I'm more into hands than mouths. Hands come first. All right, so that's true. Thanks for bringing that up in terms of the whole story, yes. So it's called transmigration of the soul. And, in one sense, we're all demons. We've taken up demonic practices or demonic thoughts, at least, and we want to be able to rid ourselves of these, whatever is nasty within us. Yes. Any other questions or comments? Yes.
Maharaj, like you mentioned, Hiranyakashipu had dharma, earth, and kam, but the guru that he had, Shukracharya, he was not from the line of Guru Parampara. He he got the position in inheritance. So was he able to teach him dharma, or what was dharma for Hiranyakashipu that he was?
It was going to teach him Dharma. Is that what your question is? Well, Dharma was all part of the curriculum, you know, to honor demigods and so on like that. So, but moksha is really the question, right? Moksha, you know, that was not in the curriculum for the school of hard knocks. And so that was what was missing. And Shukracharya has a reputation for making some mistakes, you know. Yeah, he had guru status, but let's say he wasn't up to the mark of what is expected for people. There's the whole story of Bali Maharaj and how, you know, he was teaching Bali Maharaj, you know, you give it to the Brahmins, give it to the priests. After all, I'm a priest. It was kind of behind it all. And then when Vamana came into the, you know, territory of Bali, Bali thought, okay, here's a Brahmin. My guru told me I should always serve the Brahmins. And even some mention about Vishnu being honored. But now Shukracharya took a little turn around. He said, don't give anything to this guy, this little guy in disguise, you know, like he could have been you. And don't bother giving him anything, you know. First of all, he was a Brahmin, so Bali was obliged to give. Secondly, he was told that's Vishnu in disguise, okay. So Bali, you know, he kind of calculated things, and he said, I've been hearing all my life about how Brahmins are to be honored, and to some extent Vishnu, and now my guru's saying something different, so he rejected him. So Shukracharya was a little bit of a nonsense, if I could say that. I hope I don't get cursed for saying that. But, you know, he was the guru of the demons, so you can understand that there's something off here, right? And so that's important to take note of. Yeah, Shukracharya was a little bit off course. Okay, we can't take him too seriously for giving us directions, okay? Not in the right sampradaya. Yes?
Maharaj, thank you so much. I like this point that you made, that we should learn something new every day. And even if it's small, it should end like turn out to be something substantial eventually. So, like how do we perceive things when you know there's some situation in our life that are challenging or not so good? So how do we take learnings from there? Because and we are just
well, you're being tested, right? When there's a challenge, just means you're being tested, and try to accept the test or the examination and go through it. How many people like writing exams? How many people like writing exams? Nobody. Nobody. Do you ever write? Okay, you're one of a kind. You must be an avatar. Okay, writing exams. So the thing is, but you do them, you know. You write the exams. When the exams come not in an official way, but in an informal way, or what might appear a casual way, you have to understand by the ways of karma and the ways of the Lord, God's policy with karma, He's giving it to you. So if He's administering the examinations, the tests, we should take it seriously, because it's those tests that build character. The other ones don't necessarily. They don't. So the little exams that come to us end up piling up to be a Mount Meru. I was joking with the devotees. We were on Japa walk in Havana the other day in Cuba, and the sidewalks aren't the best. And you know, if there was like a part of the sidewalk looked like a crater, okay, here comes Grand Canyon. And then we all had to laugh. Oh, and then, you know, the next thing would be like a big slab of cement, you know, tilted like this, and then we'd have, here's Mount Meru. So everything will really start piling up. And you know, let's say in terms of passing the examinations, you know. And each day I've passed, you know. How do you pass them anyways? You get some strength from the devotees. somebody who's got a little more experience than you in life and in devotion. Get some help from them so that you can pass the exam. How many people have studied their exams and they got some help from some mentor, or you look online? Yeah, see, we do that all the time. So when it comes to dealing with the challenges of life itself, which can be very overbearing sometimes, shouldn't we seek help? Shouldn't we get some guidance, some encouragement? Like Krishna was like that for Arjuna, right? He was encouraging him. There's the one film called The Legend of Bagger Vance. Has anybody ever seen it? Year 2000. And the whole story is a take on Bhagavad Gita. And Will Smith plays the role of Krishna in it. And he's like a caddy. That means someone who takes the golf. There was a golf tournament in the southern region of the U.S. Savannah, Georgia. Where people talk funny. And it was the Depression time. People were out of work. And so then somebody came up with the idea, why don't we have a golf tournament, And they used to, the town Savannah used to do really well in golf tournaments, before the war and the Depression. And so there was one person who said, yeah, let's get our champion back in, and we can have a tournament and it'll boost the morale of the place. And the person's name was Arjuna. R.Juna. That was his name. And so Will Smith came into the picture just out of nowhere, like Krishna. And he gave him all this encouragement. It was a very good film, actually. There's this little part that you don't want to see, but anyways, the rest is okay. But it's a take on Bhagavad Gita, the whole thing. And the winning shot, when Mr. Arjuna takes the golf and he hits the golf ball, and it goes up in the air slow-mo, and then there's like a choir, like sounding like angels. And it lands and goes in the hole. So he won the game. And that's very encouraging. I think the public don't see the parallels, but it was intended to tell the story of Bhagavad Gita. So Will Smith is telling Arjuna, because Arjuna had lost his sense of swing, and he was just encouraging him. Just go. It's the game. Just go for the game. That's all. And it's tests. That's really what it is. Everyone's got tests, right? Every day. You too. Of a more subtle level, but have greater meaning and impact than any exam that you take in a formal, facility, learning facility. Hare Krishna. So get ready for your tests. And maybe you can register them. Sometimes it's good to journal, what were your tests for the day? It kind of puts a closure to the day, and then you have it recorded. I find it's really, really helpful to do journaling. It doesn't have to be a big thing like this. Some of you see me writing in the morning. I'm doing my journal. That's what I'm doing. And that's all I'm doing. And that's where I write my poems. That's what I'm doing. So I would recommend that highly. And you can see how you're making progress, and you can kind of register the challenges of the day, the tests that are coming at you. Anything else now? Raj? Yeah. We have, Jai Shri Ji.
There was a man up in Nashville, and he told us to petition the Lord with prayer.
Oh, yes, okay. Yeah, in the Deep South, people pray.
An accent like that.
Right. I didn't. Well, you're the Southern Ontario kid. You should speak like a Southerner.
I lived in Tennessee for a few years.
Oh, that's right. You were the farm there. That's right.
Okay.
Yes, go ahead.
My English is not good, so I not understand.
Well, it wasn't the last time, but we managed really well with it, but that's okay.
But it's about test here.
About which?
What is test? Because I don't understand. Test how progress?
With tests.
Yes.
Well, what would you say as a test for you?
Test would be like some challenging situation in your life, maybe not having a job, maybe a test for you. So something like that.
Oh, can anybody think about a test that would be on a smaller scale, like in the course of the day? What would be a test? Yes.
When we get controlled by our senses and start getting angry on simple, silly things.
Yeah, that's okay. You're speaking generally. I'm just looking for a specific, particular thing that might be a test. Go ahead.
Like a test like we do at school.
Yes, that's true. That's true. That we were talking about tests. What about other tests? Okay, give us an example.
For example, we don't have any Bhagavatam speaker and you just tell Nityananda bro, give class. So it's a test for it.
Okay, and then he's tested. Oh my God, I'm not ready. Yes, okay, what else? Let's say what other kind of test would happen within on a regular day?
Small issues.
Small issues, but what kind of issue?
Headache,
Headache, oh, that's a challenge, sure. Which you had the other day, right?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, we noticed.
When your colleagues are drinking tea and you cannot drink tea.
Okay, that's a test, okay. Or you're being tested, the prasadam is so good working out, he went all out today with his meal and, I already ate so much and I'm full and the food still looks so good, I'm being tested. Should I stop? You have to put some limitations in. Yes?
I was just going to say, maybe being in a disagreement with someone within the community and your response to that disagreement and how you choose to react to something.
Oh, yes. People can actually be problematic, right? When you're in a leadership position and, you ask someone to do something and they say no. And then how are you going to deal with that one? Sometimes in the planes where you go, some people are so full of nonsense. They are very demanding, and I feel sorry for the flight attendants. Like one guy, he put his guitar up, and it took like a whole space on the overhead. And one young man came, a flight attendant, said, "Sir, we're going to have to adjust it a little bit to put other things." No one's going to touch that. You just leave it right like the way it is. So the guy, the flight attendant is supposed to deal with characters like that. Anyways, things got smoothed out. And the fellow with the guitar guy, when everyone was emptying out, he was just waiting for everyone to get off. And he was sitting next to me, said, "Well, I'm just a little in my downtime right now." He was chilling, like everything was kind of about him. So you have to deal with people who are like that sometimes, at your workplace, at your school. Or what about when you're bullied? Has anybody been bullied when you were a kid at school in some way? Psychological or physically? Anybody been bullied? You guys been bullied? Do you bully each other? Or? No? Nobody? Okay. You love each other, right? Do you love each other? That's classic. I hope you got that. Yeah, we think you're wonderful. What a wonderful family, isn't it? So that you're really being tested. You're shaping your life. You're trying to grow and be somebody, and someone kind of stands in the way. It can be very traumatic. And the bullies are the ones you have to feel sorry for, because they're the ones that went through big challenges in their life, probably beating at home and, not being looked after by parents. Those are the kids that are troubled, that trouble other people. And there's a lot of them. It's called Varna Sankara, according to the Bhagavad Gita, unwanted population. And with, you know, kids not having a mom and a dad, or even a mom and a dad who are not even proper sometimes. It's just on the rise, you know, these kind of troubled, confused people, you know. Yeah. I think I'm a girl. Oh, I think I'm a boy. You know, like Hare Krishna. You know, and then they reinforce that in the school. They reinforce it. It's terrible. It's terrible. I'll tell you a funny story about that. One of our good friends in the Halifax area, I forget his, he was in our play, remember? Yeah. With the long hair.
Oh, the king?
Yeah, what was his name? Anyways, he told me a story about his nephew. So his nephew was in school, he was just like young, I mean, maybe 12 years old or something. And the teachers came in and told the class, you know, if you think you're a boy or you think you're a girl, just let it be, you know? So then, that's the gist of it. So then he brought in he put like blue nail polish on his fingers, you know? And then kids were teasing him about that, right? Because he thought maybe it should be a girl. And they were teasing him. I got to the teachers, and the teachers told the kids, you should not discourage him, you know? Let him be what he is or what he's supposed to be. You know, can you imagine? And then I asked this Prabhu, the uncle, so how did it all terminate? How did it end up? And he said, well, you know, he ended up, 2 or 3 years later, he became the hockey coach for the boys. So he was determined, I'm a boy. I'm a boy. Right. So we're just talking about the age of confusion, you know.
You decide what you are.
Yeah, you have to decide what you are. All you have to do is look at all your parts of your body and it should tell you what you are, right? You know, these things, Prabhupada used a phrase, these things are going on. To indicate when something isn't quite right, but he would say things like, these things are going on. All right, anything else? Because I think Raj is protecting the time factor. I think we should end it there and stick to our, you know, schedule. We're supposed to say schedule in Canada, by the way. Schedule. We're supposed to schedule. Yeah, it's British. We're kind of in the middle. Talk about confusion. We're part American, we're part British. Color. How do you spell color?
C-O-L-O-U-R.
What did you say?
C-O-L-O-U-R.
C-O-L-O-R by the computer language, but that's not what we're supposed to be. C-O-L-O-U-R. We go by the British system. And we say, you know, from A to Z, and they say that in America. We say A to Z, which is weird. But anyways, Hare Krishna. Hallelujah. All right. Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripa